Yusikike, kia ora. Welcome everyone to a bit of an experiment here, Kootenay Late Night, giving it a go from Fernie, BC. I am your host and uh, also the Community Economic Development Manager with Community Futures East Kootenay. My name is Robin Peel, and I'm really excited to be here tonight and sharing some stories of amazing things happening across the Kootenays in regards to social enterprises. I am a staunch supporter and a lover of social enterprise, and it's so great to have everyone this evening to be finding out what's happening across the Kootenay region. The event is a one-year celebration of our Innovate for Impact. It's a partnership between Community Futures East Kootenay and Impact Toolbox, and is funded through the British government, sorry, the BC government, brain not working tonight, through the Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Program. And it's all about supporting social enterprise development across our rural region, and it's the whole Kootenay region. And really, we're hoping to create a movement of impact across our rural area. And tonight, we're celebrating 1 year of that program and some of the people that are doing great work in social enterprise across the whole region and the change, the movement that we hope to bring as a result of that. So before I start, I want to make sure everyone understands what a social enterprise is. Otherwise, we're going to be talking a whole evening and people are going to be like, what are we even talking about here? So my definition, and people obviously have different definitions of this, is an innovative business that drives social change. So it's selling a good or a service that generates income and then using that income to make a sustainable difference in the social, cultural, or environmental issue. So using that profit and reinvesting it back within that mission. And to me, I think is making an impact across our rural community. So I think there really are important social enterprises in the rural region and someone involved in community economic development. I think they're key because they really help drive sustainable change and they empower our communities to address their needs. And we're going to have a number of people tonight who I get to interview and find out about why social enterprise, why they're doing it, the impact they're making. And I'm really excited to do that. And so to kick us off, I'm going to bring Shagan up, who is from Impact Toolbox, one of our key partners for this project. So come on down. I feel like I'm like the price is right or something. Come on down, Shagan. Um, uh, anyway,
Oh,
welcome, Shagan. So lovely to have you join me in this virtual space tonight. And so from you, I'd love to hear what excites you about this partnership that we're doing here in the Kootenay region.
yeah, I will go historical in if you will let me. I remembered when I first, sorry, before I go into that. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. I remember when my very first conversation with Robin was maybe like 3 years ago, or maybe close to four. And I came from Chicago, and it felt like social enterprises were everywhere. And I got here. I remembered one of the first people I spoke with. I spent 10 minutes trying to explain what a social enterprise was to that person. And I felt frustrated that I did not understand it. And I did not know at that moment I would spend hours and hours and hours having the same conversation with different people. And I remember the very first day that I met Robin, she got it and she was like, yeah, don't worry, I'm from Europe. I get this. I understand it. And I'm like, yeah, I found a friend that actually gets it. And um, it really just comes back to the beauty of when people move around and how we move around and we just kind of bring this diversity into the spaces where we find ourselves and how knowledge and solutions move alongside that. And for me, this project in particular, but also similar projects like that, have been my way of finding home in remote and rural BC and finding friends and finding allies and being able to kind of express myself, finding that relevance in my history and in my experience in in this new space that I found myself. So personally, that's really what inspires me the most about this work that we're doing. But on a general outward level, I feel we've been incredibly blessed to be able to have people participate and people who are interested in thinking about doing things differently, thinking about doing social good in the way that will do them good, doing social good in a way that they are thinking about a future for it and a way that it will continue to run. And I remember in our first cohort-ish, we have businesses also thinking about how can I make more impact and internalizing that their business could be great vehicles for doing social good. So those are really the things that inspire me, that we have been blessed to have people in our communities who wants to do things differently, who are thinking about things differently, and who are going on this journey to try and figure it out. How can this be beyond me? And how can my work exist for itself? How can I give it a bit of power that is not and control that goes beyond what grants and funders and uh, people are asking me to do, but it is indeed what our community needs and what our people needs, and giving ourselves a little bit of chance to be responsive to those needs.
I love
Yeah,
the idea. I love the idea of calling it home because I do feel incredibly blessed to that the people I get to spend time with and through this work really get it and are making a massive difference. And so it does feel like a community of change that I really feel is all together. And so the idea that we find these people out there, and tonight I can just look at who's attending. There's, so many people here who are doing this work, and we're going to hear from some of them, but there's people in the audience that I kind of want to hear from too at some point because they are also doing work, and so I feel that as well. And I guess I'd love to go to kind of the bigger vision. Like we've got these people here, they're doing great work. It inspires us because they're going beyond themselves to think about their community. So if we keep growing this ecosystem and we keep growing this movement, if we want to call it that, in the Kootenays, what do you think success could look like? What do you think the Kootenays could look like in 5 years' time? What's your vision?
on paper, and the things that are much more easier to articulate would be that we have jobs, that we have shelter, that people's basic needs are met. And I I've been reading a lot recently about technocrats and how they just think about technical solutions, but not thinking if the people are eating. So I feel like in the simplest form is that in 5 years people will be eating is really what is important. People have more than enough to eat and they'll have a good place to rest their heads. And um, there will be enough for people to share.
Mm.
And that's kind of sounds very idealistic, I know, but um, we might start to see a signal of that the needs of people in our community will be met when we start to see responsive social enterprises rising and being functional in the next 5 years. I kind of feel like I may not be here to see that world where people eat, people get all the things that they need, and people's needs are met. But if in 5 years I'm able to see one social enterprise here and there that's responsible for some of those critical needs, and they are able to work optimally, I think that will give me satisfaction. It takes like 50 years to see systems change. So in 5 years, if there are um, glitters of hope and signs that that would be possible, and I would say in the simplest way possible is that people have jobs, they have food, and we have built an ecosystem that is good enough that can be self-proliferating, and we keep producing all these social enterprises that are responsive to needs that we have in our communities now and those that would arise in the nearest future. That would be my hope. I know that's
Add something to that too, and the fact that maybe you don't have to tell everyone what a social enterprise is every time you have a commute. Like, so maybe enough people know what that terminology means, that you don't have to repeat yourself every time that that is a word that people understand in rural communities, and they can point to one in their community as well.
yeah, I hope so that even if they don't know it by definition, they just know that they are engaging in initiatives and ventures, and it becomes a normal thing to do that, to engage in initiatives and ventures that makes money and makes impact, and they don't feel it's weird.
Hmm. I think that is a actually a beautiful place to live and finish with you if we don't mind, Shaken. We'll have you maybe on later on as well. But I think to me that place where this isn't weird, this is just how we do business and we do impact for our rural communities is wonderful. So thank you for your vision of Impact Toolbox. Thank you for partnering with me and being along on this journey, and making an impact in our rural communities. I really appreciate that.
Uh, Thank you.
Um, Thank you. And so if you're here for our launch event, I think I've seen some names who were here before. We try and keep these events and initiatives and ways we do things a little bit interactive. You don't just get to sit there. I'm sorry, even if you're making dinner or drinking your wine or putting the kids to bed or whatever, we're going to try and ask something of you. So in the chat, Min has just put a link to a Menti. And so I would love for everyone to go there. And it's going to be on the screen as well. So if you have your phone on you, there's a QR code that you can do as well. Um, put the child down, put your wine down, put your food down for a second. Just want to make sure who's in the room. And so that's our first question actually is where in the Kootenays are you calling from? If you can put a pin in on that, is it going to work for me? Let's see if I can go to it too. This is where my eyes aren't good enough to work out where I am. I'm going to try and get as close as I can. Ooh, got a few people in different places. Okay. And if you're off the map because you're not from the Kootenays, we still love you. You're still welcome here. Put it where you need to. Put it where you wish you were if you were in the Kootenays. Um, I was going to say there must be someone from Boundary in that area because we've got a Vicky here. All good, Beth.
Vicky,
Um,
Vicky can't.
oh, okay. Let's go to the next one then, just to keep us going. But thank you for doing that if you can do that. So, can you find one word? Type in one word that describes what the social enterprise, social impact sector looks like in the Kootenays. What does it mean to you? Is there a word that you can use to describe what this looks like? Like that? Exemplary. That's that. I feel like that's a lot to live up to, but okay. Or maybe it already is. Maybe we already are exemplary. I like that. Also, for me, words that jump out, I do like it's emerging, but I also like inclusive. To me, that's a big part of what social enterprise is the inclusivity of people, of place, of ideas. That's what personally drives me within the social impact world, not just in the Kootenays, everywhere, actually. Exciting, challenging, impactful. Excellent. Okay. And the last question for now, we're going to make you do something later. I just want to know what the energy in the room, like obviously I'm talking, I can know that, I how I'm feeling, but how are you feeling? Are you just here to listen and just like Robin, be quiet. I'm just gonna don't want to do interactive things anymore. I'm just here to learn and take it in. Are you here for the good times? Are you here to support someone? Are you here with your popcorn ready to make comments? Are you here for your coffee and conversation? Whatever that looks like for you, just give us an idea of who you are and how you're feeling tonight. People just ready to for their coffee and their popcorn, ready for some conversation. Well, hopefully we can give you that tonight with the people we've got to talk to and engage with. So thank you for humoring me, being a part of this. As I said, don't put Menti away. I'm going to make you do some stuff at the end as well to share where you're at. Um, I'm happy, Darren, to do the Price is Right all the time. It just feels like this is a natural part. Come on down. So we are going to do our first person that I get to interview and have a conversation with. Um, and the first person I'm really excited to be sharing is Mason Kalstead. And so Mason is from Selkirk Secondary in Kimberley and was part of the Youth Enterprise program, which ran for the last 5 months. And they won an award on Thursday night last week for their social enterprise idea. And so I know what this is about, and I'm excited to hear and for you to hear about what they're going to share as well. So thank you, Mason, so much for being here, firstly, and for understanding what a social enterprise is, for giving it a go and being a part of this. So can you tell everyone here about your social enterprise Connectopedia?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'm Mason, and I was lucky enough to be an award winner in the event that they did last Thursday. Thank you, Robin, for having that. Uh, I created a business called Connectopedia, which is a gaming circuit and gaming community hub for underrepresented communities. So it was meant to help women and the LGBTQ who get discriminated against a lot in the current gaming scene. One of the stats I was able to use is that 59% of women say they don't feel safe to go online due to discrimination.
I love this. Firstly, I love two things. I live with a gamer, so I understand the gaming world. And he also used to be involved in esports, so I know that this is not just gaming online, but it's also then competing and being part of that community and having that safe space. So can you tell us a little bit about the difference you want to make with the social enterprise and what drove you to do this?
Yeah, the difference I wanted to make is that when I was looking for teammates a lot of the time, I realized that there wasn't really any women teammates. And I just really felt that was unfair because a lot of my friends who were girls just didn't feel safe to play. So I really want to try and create a nice, safe space for them to be able to come into the gaming scene, as well as well as the change that we've already made, which is just trying to give them a more fair chance to compete right
Hmm.
now.
Hmm. And is this out of interest? Is this Kootenay? Is this Kimberley? Is this worldwide? What's your vision? What kind of community are you thinking?
I'd love to go full worldwide. That would be the full vision, is to have this all around the world, because one of the main things we worked on was our SDGs, which is the sustainable goals,
Mhm.
and gender equality is one of them, and that's not just a Kimberley problem or a Kootenai problem, that's a world problem.
Love that. And again, I when you wrote your theory of change was like, you want to really make sure that underrepresented gamers are given a safe place because then it increases their confidence and their participation and their sense of belonging. And to me, I just the fact that you're using gaming as a tool for a bigger picture thing really stuck out to me. So thank you for using something that obviously you're a part of to see that kind of bigger picture of that safe, what can happen when people have confidence in a safe space. So what was it like to win last week? Tell me how it was like firstly to present maybe and then it was to win.
First of all, to present, it was a lot less scary. I had just finished all my high school stuff. I'm just graduating this year, so I did my capstone and presentations like that. So it was a lot less scary, but also at the same time, I finished presenting and I realized that I'd forgot everything. I just blacked out. So it was really fun. On top of winning, you guys got me a little bit the first time. You guys started with like, you guys were talking about how there was this award you guys were giving out to a company that was going worldwide and they were really gonna fix it and it was something you guys had never seen before, and then you announced a different group, and I was like, oh, dang it. It's okay. They came back the second time and was like, wait a minute, no, 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 and Connectopedia too. Don't worry.
There were two prize winners last week on Thursday night, and you're one of them. So I'm so glad that you're a part of that. So what was out of interest, because you spent 5 months doing this with your school, with other classmates, what was a kind of a lesson or an insight that you got through kind of developing your social enterprise?
A lot of the insight that I got was just being able to build off, um, not really the flaws, but the missteps that my a lot of my other classmates took. So in the presentation that we had on last Thursday, actually three of the people that got to present were from my class, and I noticed that I got to use building blocks off of both of them to try and help make mine, ahead of the game, as you would say.
I love that, the idea that you're learning from others. It's not that's not even like to me this is okay. Can I just go that failure is not a bad thing, and especially if someone else is doing something, you're like, oh, I think I can improve on this. I love that as a concept. So, was there anything in particular you learnt through their missteps that allowed you? Was there anything you can point to?
Uh, diversifying. That was the biggest step, was being able to be your own thing. I found that some of them were maybe too close to stuff that already existed,
Mm.
or actually just being able to um, take feedback. I got Annabelle, who is part of this program, gave me lots of feedback every week, and just being able to take that and move on to the next week with a more improved product really helps.
That is a life lesson I think we all need to learn, and myself included, is take feedback and improve. So I love that. And then finally, Mason, one question is you won $2,000. What's the plan with that award money? But maybe even bigger, what's the plan for this and you going forward?
So $500 of the dollars gets to go to my mentor, which is amazing. So I know she's using the money to help next year's grade have an even better project. On top of that, we have only a class of 12 people, so she's also taking us out to lunch. So that's a little bit of a winning. Um, my part of the money is going to be used strictly to probably just give away, not as a charity, but more to like connect with more people. People like money, so it really gets them in the door a lot of the time if you're offering a prize pool for a tournament.
Well, I love that. And if you do a gaming session in person, I said I know a few gamers in the world over here in Fernie. Maybe I can get them to come over and be a part of that too. But so thank you so much for the vision, for your time, and again, congratulations on your award. And I can't wait to see what comes next with Connectopedia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. I feel like we're in safe hands, Kootenays, when we have the next generation doing things like that. I really think that is amazing. And then next up, we are moving from Kimberley to Revelstoke. We are Kootenay wide here. So Robin Goldsmith is joining us from Revelstoke, and she has got a social enterprise called the Revelstoke Sound Cellar. So I'm going to leave it to Robin to introduce us. And the way I've said this to them in advance is, can you do it in one sentence your neighbor would understand? And the reason I say that is we always try and make things complicated when we talk about our social enterprises. So, Robin, over to you.
Sure. So the sound seller, so my broader hat is that I'm the executive director for Arts Revelstoke. And I think some context is just that we've run a bunch of free arts programming, and we're having trouble continuing to support those programs through just our grant funding sources. So we recently actually we purchased an existing business, which is the Sound Cellar. And the Sound Cellar is a music ecosystem. So through it, we run music lessons, performances, and then recording services as well.
So, music lessons for whom?
For anyone. The majority of our clients are children, but we have some adults in it as well, and we do cello, piano, bass, guitar, ukulele. So we've got all sorts of folks coming in.
Love it. Any, out of interest, I want to learn the cello. Did you say the cello?
We have cello, yeah. We do not have violin yet. If you know any violin instructors, we're on the hunt.
Okay, Revelstoke, Golden, anywhere around then. We're looking for anything else you're looking for while we're here? Violin instructor.
Um, we could use a new drum instructor as well, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, put the word out. I think we might have some musicians on the call. So anyone who knows anyone in Revelstoke. So tell us a little bit about how long you've been running it. You said it was an already existing business that you purchased. How long have you been running it from Arts Revelstoke?
So we purchased the business in October, and it was a fairly fledgling enterprise. Created by our local bookstore, Fable Book Parlor, which is an excellent shop if you're ever in Revelstoke. And so they'd created the sound cellar and then realized it was sort of outside of their mission and sort of outside of their capacity. And so we recognized the opportunity to kind of take it over and clearly with Arts Revelstoke, it was really mission aligned as well.
And so what's the difference? What since October, which is again fairly new. I'm not going to expect you to have changed the world in 6 months, but what difference is it making in your community, do you think?
I think it's the biggest thing is it's a really approachable venue for people to showcase their work, and it's quite different from an artist playing at a bar where people are like popping in and out, having a drink, chatting with their friends. This is like the most engaged audience of 40 people you'll ever get. It's quite an intimate venue. So it's really fantastic for people who are just kind of like new to the music scene or emerging artists to try out. Um, that scope. So that's an area that we've really grown. So the music lessons we haven't changed much, but we've really grown the performance space. So it's a fantastic opportunity for people who are really music lovers to engage with what's going on, as well as emerging artists to have an opportunity to perform.
Tell us when it became kind of, I was going to say when it became real. Like, do you feel like now this is your, sp not obviously your space, but like when you go in there, what does it feel like, and how does it feel to be kind of a real space for you as Arts Revelstoke?
I think for us, like it just felt so aligned that we were like, oh, the vibe is right, and we got in there, and it gives us. We also operate the Performing Arts Center in collaboration with the high school, which very much feels like not our space, because it's a shared space, and we don't have a lot of control over it. So it's been really nice for myself and the staff to have something that we can really be creative about, and do a little decorating and kind of curate the experience we want for people in our community.
So 6 months in, I'm sure there's been some lessons. What's the hard parts of setting up a social enterprise, and what are some lessons learnt along the way that you can share with others?
I think it's difficult because it is sort of like it's being absorbed into our broader organization, and we do have other revenue streams, like we sell tickets for a performance series and we do rentals, and just trying to figure out which pieces of what we're doing are considered social enterprise. Uh,
Mm.
and sort of, okay, do we keep this sound seller as a sort of appendage, as a separate piece, or do we absorb those operations and consider anything that's income as a social enterprise? So that's been kind of a challenge. It's just like maybe that's a bit boring and a bookkeeping thing, but it is interesting as a nonprofit that relies still quite heavily on grants, is how do we kind of parse those different income streams?
And how do you make sure that income doesn't disappear? That it's, keeping you growing and keeping
Exactly.
that going.
Exactly.
And if someone's watching tonight, besides a drum teacher and a violin teacher, anything else that I mean, obviously, if you're in Revelstoke, how do we find out about you? But anything else they can do to help?
Just come on out to shows and anything we do. We have live music every night of the summer.
Wow.
So that's not in the sound cellar, but we are looking at doing a little Saturdays. There's a cellar kind of program. But if you're in town in the summer, we have live music every night. This is one of the programs we need to fund. Um, and just participate in the arts. Honestly, showing up is the biggest thing I think for the arts and culture sector, is having an engaged audience really proves our value.
5 years' time. What if I'm going to come to the Sound Cellar or talk to you in 5 years' time? Do you have a vision for that?
Yeah, I would love to see us drawing in shows where the artists are, I mean, they're all high quality, but I want to see some names coming in where you can get these kind of exclusive performances of recognized names in the region, and establishing a bit more of a network through the Kootenays with some of the other small venues. So we have colleagues in Caslow and in Slocan, and we do, there's a broader provincial touring network, but I would really like to see some of these artists specifically coming for a micro tour through the Kootenays.
I love that because that's just it boosts that cultural world and that income as well. So it's not just income for you, but it's income for the creators and the musicians, right? To make that a sustainable business for themselves.
Totally. Yeah.
And we have some pretty talented people in our community, so I agree. Love that. Okay, let's anyone in arts around the whole of the Kootenays, any other community, get in touch with Robin. Let's create this ecosystem of cultural spaces as well. Thank you so much, Robin, for all you're doing and for sharing that tonight as well. So appreciative to have you here.
Thank you.
So we're going from Revelstoke to the boundary. It's almost like I'm like here I am in Fernie, we're going up to Revelstoke. It's almost like we're doing the edges of the Kootenay region. It wasn't planned that way, but this is how it's ended up. So I'm going to invite Vicky to come and join me now. Vicky is a one-woman social enterprise generator. I don't know how many social enterprises you're involved with in the boundary, Vicky. How many?
Probably directly, probably 3.
See, you're the one woman.
Others outside, and I don't work alone.
No, I know.
And there are an awful lot of volunteers in our project.
You're amazing, and you've got a great ecosystem happening over there. So we're going to talk about one of your social enterprises tonight, which is KVR. No, I've said that wrong. I'm going to let you describe it and tell me about it because then I can get it right. Off you go, Vicky.
So if everyone knows where the west boundary is, it includes Rock Creek, Greenwood, Midway, North, Westbridge, Beaverdale, Big White, very broad area, only about 4,000 people spread out and just small hamlets, really, except for Midway and Greenwood. And so I'm part of a nonprofit that operates, that tries to represent the entire West Boundary in developing community assets. It's called Trails to the Boundary Society. And it's not just about trails, although we do have partnership agreements for trails. And we knew a funding cut was pending. And so we were looking for ways to augment our income outside of grants, as is the kind of trigger story for many social enterprises. And so we had a relationship with a couple that ran a cycle tour company for quite a few years in our area, and they had been trying to sell. And at a certain point in time, we said, well, what about us? Why don't we do that? Because we'd been thinking, like, what else could we sell out of our visitor center? But then this idea just seems so much more bigger and have more potential. So what we do is we sell 7-day self-guided cycle tours that start in Midway and end up in Penticton. And so we do all the bookings for everyone and all the arrangements and provide the bikes and such. And yeah, that's what we do.
I love this. And it's along the Kettlevale Railway, like, because that's the plan, right? Like, that's the route mainly?
Yes. KVR, Kettlevale Railway.
Thank you. So anyone, again, I'm going to do a plug for this. If you like cycling, know someone who likes cycling, love this idea that we go and get to experience the beauty of the West Kootenays and the Okanagan as well. Beth, 3 of my friends just did this ride. Okay, I love when connections happen, Beth. That's amazing.
Are they your friends from Fernie?
It says Beth just put it up. So Beth is from Fernie. So she just said 3 of my friends just did this ride through you. So that is amazing. So, love to hear that. So tell me about a moment, Vicky, that you're like, oh, this is why we do this.
Something that that just really struck me recently, and I want to say sales have been down this year. And one of the reasons that they are down, we think, is because of world politics. There seems to be very little travel from other countries. So we would previously attract people from England, Germany, New Zealand, Australia. And, we're hearing that they're having challenges getting here. And so I recently booked a tour in July, and 3 of our 4 accommodators, when I asked them if they had a room available, and I was really skeptical because it's so hard booking in July because it's so busy. And they all said, you can have any of our rooms on those nights. And so I was glad to get the rooms, but I was pretty shocked that they weren't already booked. And it just made me really realize, in addition, of course, to generating income for our community works, we are trying to develop more business in the area. So it felt like it was a good thing that we were here to provide that business.
I love that. And that ripple effect that, your business then adds to other businesses to create that economic ecosystem is wonderful. And as someone who is involved with so many different social enterprises, what's your belief of a kind of a common misconception about social enterprises that we can put to rest tonight to anyone listening?
First of all, I think, as you've already said, people don't recognize what a social enterprise is. So we have them throughout the boundary, and people just never identified them. So every thrift store, every museum, the restaurant at the golf course, everything. Those are all social enterprise, of course, and. But the thing that I would really like to make people aware of, or that the criticism, I guess, that I hear from some quarters, is that we're taking business away from for-profit business.
Yeah, we are still for-profit, generating impact. We're allowed competition. Competition makes the world a better place. It's an interesting one. And I mean, just what's your response to that when you get told that?
Well, it depends which social enterprise I'm talking about. And, in the case of the cycle tour company, there would have been no one doing it because we tried to help them sell the business for 3 years, right? So that would have been that much less traffic going through. And then the other thing that I point out is that, there are a lot of people that travel along the rail trail. And, our share, our guests probably make up like less than 1% of them. So we're actually, everything that we do in regard to promoting the area and the trail is promoting everybody, not just us and not just those accommodators that we're choosing to use.
Amazing. Love that. And then finally, you are, I said, the one woman show. How can communities better support people like yourself, local change makers, people trying to make a difference in their communities? How can we support you and others like you?
Well, in general, with social enterprise, I would say, shopping local. In the case of cycle tours, it's not like locals are going to be the ones taking these tours. They can ride the trail anytime. And they could, navigate their own way fairly easily. I think that it's, and also with the cycle tour company, it's a little bit different in terms of promoting ourselves because it is not locally that we're promoting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're dealing with the boundary internet issues, Vicky. We lost you there. So
You
I'm gonna call it there. Just sorry, Vicky, we've lost you
that
for
kind of thing. And I think that every time, oh, did you lose me?
we lose you. So I don't know if it's just me,
Every
but
time we make that error, it's a loss to our region.
thank you, thank you, thank you. So that it's appreciate you and all you're doing.
Did I
For
fade out there?
Yeah, thank you. We'll call it quits. So thank you, Vicky. We got the last little bit in there before it disappeared. So thank you again for all you do for the boundary, but also for the talking about social enterprise across the Kootenay region. You are definitely a strong proponent of all the work happening for Innovate for Impact. That's the end of our formal people I'm interviewing, but I know there's people in the room who run social enterprises around the Kootenay region. Um, and hate to put someone on a spot. I'm not going to put anyone on the spot, but if there's anyone out there who wants to share about the work that they do as a social enterprise, I'm going to give you the mic, but I'm going to give you a challenge is can you talk about your social enterprise in one sentence in the way that a neighbor will understand? Um, is there anyone who wants to put their virtual hand up and come and tell us about the work they're doing? I don't want to pick on people because I don't know what's happening in your world right now. But I can see at least in the chat at least two social entrepreneurs. Anyone else want to share their story? This is Darren where I can do come on down. Anyone else? This is my Price is Right impression.
I'd run on down to you, Robin, but I couldn't explain it in one cohesive sentence, I'm afraid.
Okay, can you do it in 5 sentences, Duncan?
What our social enterprise is or what it's achieving?
Oh, both.
Oh my goodness. No, I can't.
Okay, tell me what it is. Tell me what it is.
We provide excellent outdoor learning resources, tools, and training for educators around the globe. That's one sentence. There
That
we
is
go.
one sentence. And you're doing it from Columbia Valley.
From Invermere. Although we have staff in Revelstoke, we have staff in Rossland, we have staff in Cranbrook, and then we have staff now in Ontario, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and partners around in every state and province. And we just signed our first Australian partner. And with all the export support for exporting our resources, we are looking at um, traveling to primary English speaking other countries to share UK, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, etc.
So you are one of the first people I met who understood social enterprise within the Kootenay region, Duncan. So I just want to
Aw.
say thank you for being here.
So nice to be around other people who are trying to do this good, important work.
So
Yeah.
thank you for all that you're doing. And it just shows that how many years have you been doing it now?
It's been a decade, but 6 years since we launched, like in a bigger way. Yeah.
So 6 years you've gone from how many staff to global impact?
Yeah, we went from 2 part-time staff to 16 staff now. So it's been a wild ride, but a lot of fun and such big impact locally and globally. Yeah, it's cool.
I
And it's
said,
a lot of work. It's way more work than getting a grant,
I agree.
but way more sustainable in many ways. So,
And way more impact. So thank you for all you do. I said I get excited. I was at Fairney Secondary and I had the clipboard I was given, had the outdoor learning store on it. So I had to send a photo to Duncan. I went to the Early Childhood Education Educators of BC conference and I got a outdoor learning thing in my pack there. So Duncan, it's great to see that wherever I go, I get to see the impact you're making from the Kootenay. So
you
thank you
can't get
for
away
coming
from
on
us.
down and
Yeah.
sharing.
Thanks, Robin.
Really appreciate that. Anyone else? Anyone else want to? share. Again, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but thank you, Duncan, for being here and being sharing. Then I think what we'll do is we're going to go back to Menti, get a bit more interaction from those who are in the room. So, Min, if you want to share that link again, thank you. Oh, you're amazing. If everyone wants to go back to Menti for a second, we're going to have 3 more questions and then I'll wrap it up for the evening and talk about other ways that we can keep growing this ecosystem and keep growing this support. So there's the link again. There's the QR code again. If you've got a moment, jump to it. Again, humor Robin. Just know that, I'm excited because I'm here. Okay, first question is from tonight, hearing some of these stories, what's happening in the communities across the Kootenays in terms of social enterprise, what feels more possible now, or what are you left with? Oh, allies like that. We talked about, I shouldn't really joke about this, but every so often Shagan and I talk about the movement we're creating and are we creating a cult? And it's not supposed to be a cult. It's just a joke with that. But it's having those allies who get what you're doing and trying to do this, and we all speak the same language is pretty amazing. So the idea of partnership and other people to do that with, and a voice to be wider than one individual person is exciting. So multi-impact, collaboration, B Corp, sustainability, youth, connectedness, access for women. Mason, thank you for highlighting that as a need, definitely wider across our whole communities. Sharing, being part of something bigger, that's what drives me to do this work. So I'm glad that others are feeling this is possible. And in a few moments, I'm going to talk about ways we can continue to make this possible and keep growing. So the next question is, 1 year from now, there's going to be another Kootenay Late Night, just so you know. Sorry if you didn't like it, you're going to get it again in 1 year's time. What do you want us to be celebrating? What does that look like? Anything else? You can also mention in the chat. Yeah. Youth-led change. That's my vision for this work. I love that. Okay. I would love there to be more youth, and there is already. We are working with post-secondary as well at the moment. We've got someone from College of the Rockies and Selkirk College, both working within social enterprises across the Kootenay region right now. So it is great to see the next generation getting involved with this work as well. And finally, from you, one word. I don't know if I can challenge myself to say one word. Put 2 or 3 if you need to, But is there a word that describes how you are leaving tonight, going back to your dinner, your family, your children, your work? Any... I hope wine comes up as well as pizza. Thank you. Thank you for humoring me. Wine is now there. Yeah, not in a silo. That's incredibly important that we are part of something bigger than the work that we're doing in our own communities. I'm going to leave that going, and feel free to add what you need to as what you're leaving here with tonight. Hopefully a full stomach and a bit of inspiration and an idea of what is possible. So the whole point, as I said, of Innovate for Impact and this work that we're doing across the Kootenays is growing the social enterprise ecosystem so that we're not in silos, so we do have partnerships, so we don't feel alone, that we have these allies. So there's a couple of things that you can do to be a part of that. One is sign up for updates. A number of you already get our updates, but Min will put the link in the chat right now. And it's just a way for you to know when new cohorts are opening, or we have workshops, or we have events running like this. Just if you sign up for that, you'll be kind of in the know of what's going on. The second one you can do is join our next community of practice. So we have a group that meets, I say quarterly, it's kind of 2 to 4 months depending on the time of the year. But it's called Mission Possible. So rather than Mission Impossible, we are joining together to make the mission possible in the Kootenay region. The June event is happening on the 24th of June. If you are able to join, it is June the day. We would love to have you there. It's just a chance like this to hear stories, to ask questions, get input, get ideas of what else is happening, and make you feel a little less alone and get you unstuck as well. Couple of big things happening in the fall. One is we're going to have in person, I get to see some people in the flesh. We're going to have what we're calling social hackathons, and it's going to be in Golden, Cranbrook, in the Boundary, and in Nelson. It's one-day events where each of those locations has a theme that they are working on, and you're invited to come along and find some solutions to help move forward with those challenges. So that's coming up in September. Keep an eye out for that. We'll start promoting that throughout the summer. But that's called a social hackathon as part of this program, and it'll be great to have you involved if you're around. And then also coming up in the fall, we'll have our new cohorts. We'll have a new youth cohort. So if you know any mentors working with youth, people like Mason, you can inspire the next generation. There's a youth cohort starting. There is a new enterprise cohort. So if you know someone thinking of starting a social enterprise or intrigued by that, that will be opening. And then we also have our growing, thriving and stabilizing social enterprise cohort as well. So if you're already running a social enterprise and you want to think, how do I make this more sustainable, bigger, better, more impact, that cohort is coming up as well. They'll all open late summer. So again, sign up for those updates. Reach out to me anytime. You know I can talk about social enterprises all the time. But please share this message with anyone that you're working with in your communities. The more people we have on this journey, the bigger impact we can make in our rural communities. And I'm sorry, Dan, that your internet isn't reliable enough, because that just means I'm going to have to invite you to our next annual summit as a speaker, and make sure that you have reliable internet, because you've got a great story to tell from up in Golden as well. So thank you all for the work you're doing in our communities, for the impact you're making. Let's continue to be a part of this movement and make the Kootenays known worldwide, maybe Canada-wide, but maybe worldwide, for social enterprise and the impact we can make. So cheers, everyone. I don't have any prizes. I don't have any boxes to open to tell you you've got a prize, but come on down anyway and make Kootenays great. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you all.